Best of the Mariners broadcast, Magnolia Hi-Fi, Cellular One's Retailer of the Year. First of all, for the Tigers, leading it off will be switch hitter Tony Phillips at second base. Alan Trammell will be the shortstop. Left fielder Gary Ward will bat third. Big Cecil Fielder is at first base, batting fourth. Chet Lemon will be in right field. The catcher will be Mike Heath. Tracy Jones will be the designated hitter. Eddie Romero will be at third base, batting seventh. Kenny Williams is the center fielder. And on the mound for the Detroit Tigers, right-hander Jeff Robinson.
And a very pleasant good evening, everybody. On a lovely evening in the Northwest, we get set to play baseball. And the switch hitting now, second baseman of the Detroit Tigers. He played third base last night. Tony Phillips will step in and hit from the right-hand side. Phillips, not a heck of a lot to choose from either side of the plate. He's hitting .257 right-handed, .235 left-handed, and .243 overall. Defensively, Martinez, Brumley on the left side of the Mariner infield, Reynolds and Davis on the right side, and the outfield from left to right, Henry Cotto in left, the kid Ken Griffey Jr. in center, and Jay Buhner is in right. With Scott Bradley behind the plate, 26-year-old Randy Johnson leans down to get the first sign, and he's into the windup, and the first pitch is a fastball steep, like called on the inside corner. Al Clark, the man calling balls and strikes with that right hand up in the air. 0-1 the count. Phillips to be followed by Alan Trammell, and then Gary Ward, the left fielder. R.J. back with the 0-1 pitch now, and this time it's down low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike, and falling off to the side of the third base side as he delivered that pitch. He's got to keep that right shoulder pointed right toward the plate, and that will really help him with his control. Alex Grammas coaching over at third base for Detroit, and Dick Trzeski over at first. The 1-1 pitch on the way, swung on and pulled foul behind Grammas and down to the Mariner ball girl down the left field line. The count, a ball and 2 strikes. As we mentioned, classic car night here at the Kingdome, and the Kingsmen performing in the north parking lot. I got right in the middle of all those beautiful cars coming to the ballpark about 2:30 this afternoon, and all the policemen around the area had the different intersections blocked off. The 1-2 pitch, and a breaking ball got him swinging. That's the slider, and Tony Phillips is down on strike. Felt like I was in a time warp somewhere. Kept looking at the ramps, and here come these 1950, 1960 automobiles.
Bring back some good memories.
Oh, yeah.
You bet.
Especially the back seats. 1 out. Here comes Alan Trammell now. Alan Trammell hitting .301. Trammell and Whitaker have been the double play combination of the Detroit Tigers longer than any major league DP combo. The pitch swung on and a ground ball to Hopper. Hit right to Brumley. The shortstop has it and throws to first in time. So quickly 2 away. They've been together for a dozen years. Well, here's Gary Ward, the strong right-handed batting left fielder, hitting .261. Certainly this one starting off a little bit more on the sane side than last night. Saw the Tigers score 3 runs in the first, the Mariners 5 runs. In the bottom of the first, the big blast, of course, the grand slam home run by Jay Buhner. Randy Johnson at 6'10", 225 pounds. Here comes the big southpaws, winding the pitch on the way, and the slider strike right at the knees. 0-1. When he's on, and he's got his good fastball and his slider, and he throws it for strikes, he's almost unhittable. And the big guy's 0-1 pitch on the way, and a chain slider strike right at the knees. 0-2. Randy back to take a pinch out of the rosin bag, dance it around his hand, and drop it right down in front of his feet, and back up the back slope of the mound. To look down at Scott Bradley. Gary Ward waving that wood back and forth. And the 0-2 pitch on the way, and the fastball swung on, and a fly ball hit deep into the gap in right center. The kid on his horse, he is back there to one-hand the ball. Going away about a step from the warning track. Really a routine play for Griffey, and that will retire the side. As Gary Ward gives it a good ride into deep right center. 1-2-3, the Tigers story. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. A delight to have you with us on this Saturday night, and after a half of frame, the Detroit Tigers nothing, the Mariners coming up.
This broadcast, Magnolia Hi-Fi, Cellular One's Retailer of the Year. For the Mariners, leading it off at second base, Harold Reynolds. Henry Cotto will be in left field batting second. A.D. Alvin Davis will be at first base batting third. The Hackman, Jeffrey Leonard, is the designated hitter and cleanup hitter batting fourth. Ken Griffey Jr. is in center field batting fifth. Third baseman Edgar Martinez bats sixth. followed by right fielder Jay Buhner. Catcher Scott Bradley will bat 8th, and Mike Brumley is the shortstop in this ball game. Brumley will bat 9th, and on the mound, the big unit, Randy Johnson.
Well, Jeff Robinson, 28 years of age, out of Azusa Pacific College. In his last start last Saturday against the White Sox at Tiger Stadium, he went 5 1/3 innings. Tagged with a 10-4 loss, 5 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs all earned, 3 walks and 5 strikeouts. And the second straight start that has seen Jeff last only 5 1/3 innings. And he goes after the M's tonight with Harold Reynolds, the switch-hitting second baseman, stepping up to bat from the left-hand side. Harold hitting .262 left-handed. Robinson, 28 years of age, a good athlete. He was a good basketball player also in college. Here comes Jeff's first pitch of the night, and the fastball high and inside. Robinson has the fastball, the slider, and the forkball, and he usually, when he has the good one, the forkball, he uses as the out pitch. 6'6", 235 pounds. The 1-0 pitch on the way to Harold, and there it is, the forkball down low and bouncing in the dirt. Way inside to Reynolds. 2 balls and no strikes. Eddie Romero is the third baseman for the Tigers tonight. Alan Trammell, the shortstop. Trammell's usual second base companion double play combination. Lou Whitaker not in the lineup against the left-hander, as Phillips is at second and Cecil Fielder over at first. The pitch, and Reynolds taking high, the fastball, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes, with Gary Ward in left, Kenny Williams in center, and Chester Lemon in right. So Sparky stacking the ball club with the right-handed bats. The 3-0 pitch, and Harold taking a strike across the letters. 3 balls and 1 strike the count. Reynolds to be followed by left fielder Henry Cotto, and then first baseman Alvin Davis. Now the rock and the 3-1 pitch on the way, and the fastball, strike 2 call right on the outside edge. 3-2 the count. Bill Plummer is coaching down at third base tonight for the Mariners, as he has been for a week, and over at first is Rusty Kuntz. And the 3-2 pitch on the way, and it's taken high, ball 4. So Reynolds to first base, and the M's get off on the right foot. And that'll bring up Henry Cotto. Cotto has been red hot with the bat. He has hit in 15 of his last 16 games that has seen that batting average elevate up to the .315 mark. Alvin Davis is on deck. Nice crowd on hand on this Saturday night. Cotto smoothing out some of that dirt in that right-handed batter's box, just kind of measuring his distance from the plate by laying that bat at the tip of the home plate. And pinwheeling that bat around, waiting for Robinson's pitch, which doesn't come. Instead, the throw to first base, and Reynolds scoots back to the bag on his hands and knees safely. The Mariners going over the 500,000 mark in attendance last night. Earliest time in their history, equaling the earliest time in their history of 1977. A stretch by Robinson and another throw to first base. Robinson, by the way, has an excellent move. He's good at holding runners on. Cecil Fielder, the man anchored at first base. Reynolds, that right foot right where the dirt meets the carpet at first base with his lead. Then at the waist, a stretch by Robinson now. Jeff comes to the plate, and Cotto sends a high fly ball off the end of the bat to Gary Ward in left field, moving over about 3 or 4 steps to make the one-handed catch. So 1 out, and here comes Alvin. Davis has been in a funky mini slump. Alvin has gone 0 for his last 12, but that batting average still at .305. With 5 home runs and 14 RBIs. You look at Alvin Davis and you look down and all of a sudden see him going from 0 for 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever. You know it's only a matter of time before he just starts crushing the ball. Alvin taking a long look down at Plummer to see if Lefevre has anything on for Reynolds at first base with that big hole open on the right side. The stretch by Robinson. And Jeff goes to first base, and again Reynolds leaning back to the bag safely on the corner of the bag. Reminder, tomorrow will be along your way at 1:06 as the 11-game homestand comes to an end. Eric Hansen will face Frank Tanana, a man who beat the Mariners in their first game ever here in April of '77. The stretch in the pitch. Alvin taking high and outside, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. The Tigers with a record of 21 and 29. But that East, it truly is a 500 division, although Milwaukee now 4 games over with their victory over Toronto today. These Tigers only 5.5 games back and 8 games under 500. Here's the Robinson stretch. And the pitch on the way. Alvin taking high inside. 2-0. Jeffrey Leonard is due next. The Tigers, after this game, head to Toledo. After tomorrow's game, I should say, head to Toledo after this series. The 2-0 pitch to Alvin Davis, and it's taken outside, ball 3 balls and no strikes. They have an exhibition game on Monday against their AAA affiliate, the Toledo Mud Hens, and then go into Cleveland for a 3-game series. And then, of course, the Mariners and the Tigers will have a long day of baseball next Friday, a doubleheader at Tiger Stadium. The 3-0 pitch to Alvin Davis, and it's taken for a strike in the count 3-1. And a perfect pitch on which to run here. Davis usually an outstanding contact hitter, and you have to guess that Reynolds is going on this, and Jeff Robinson, knowing it, may drive Reynolds one more time back to the bag at first. Here's the stretch, and he comes to the plate. There goes Harold. The pitch is outside, ball 4. So Alvin Davis to first base, and the M's now with runners at first and second, and only one man down for Jeffrey Leonard. Leonard hitting .249 on the year.
Jeffrey Leonard.
Robinson this year has walked 28 men in 57 innings, so he has really had his control problems. And Heath, with that catcher's mask resting on top of that helmet he's wearing, slowly walks out to the mound to say something to Jeff Robinson about working to Jeffrey Leonard, who loves that high heat. He loves that high fastball. On the scoreboard, we mentioned Milwaukee knocking off Toronto today 7-6. They're in the bottom of the 8th at Yankee Stadium with Baltimore leading the Yankees 4-2. Minnesota beat the White Sox 2-1. After the White Sox last night beat the Twins by that identical score 2-1. Boston losing to Cleveland tonight 7-5. Here's the stretch. Pitch on the way to Jeffrey Leonard now by the big right-hander. Check swing, and it's down in the dirt. He went around, however, and the ball bounced right out toward the mound, so no advance by Reynolds or by Alvin Davis. 0-1. That appeared to be the fork ball. Jeff Robinson. The look down at Mike Heath, and the right-hander set. Here comes the look back, and the 0-1 pitch on the way. Now high and inside over the head of Jeffrey Leonard, and he ducks down underneath it. And Robinson all over the place with his control here in the first, wearing a pair of 4s on his back as Jeff. Reynolds again ambling away from second. Alvin away from first. And Robinson is stretch. Here comes the 1-1 pitch on the way. High inside, ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Robinson, I think, lost a good dose of confidence more than anything else last year after suffering the circulatory problem in '88, trying to feel his way through the season, and was not successful. The 2-1 pitch to Jeffrey Leonard on the way, and it's down low and in the dirt, and that will get up the first baseline. Everybody will make the advance. He can't find it. Practically on the foul line, only about 8 or 9 feet up the first baseline. That was the fork ball and a wild pitch. So Reynolds to third base, Alvin Davis to second. That eliminates the double play. And 3-1 on Jeff Leonard and Jeff Robinson all over the place.
And even though the count is 3-1, Robinson hasn't even come close to throwing a strike. He got the strike on the breaking pitch down and in the dirt on the first pitch to Jeffrey Leonard. Heath has been very busy. By the time Reynolds reached third base, Heath still hadn't found the ball.
So the count 3-1, and guess who's on deck? You got it, the kid. Had a couple of doubles last night, his 20th multi-hit game. Robinson will work from the full wide. Jeff a peek over at third. The 3-1 pitch on the way now. The fastball, strike. Outside corner. I think the Hackman tried to hold up and couldn't, and went around. 3-2.
Seems to be.
Heath looks like he might have gotten a piece of the bat, maybe on the hand or something. I didn't think that Jeffrey went that far around. But Mike's all right. Just loosening up that meat hand, throwing a couple down to Ed Romero. He had called time. Full count on Jeffrey Leonard. Jeff nodding no, now okay. Here comes the wind and the 3-2 pitch to the Hackman, and a fastball swung on and a ground ball two-hopper hit right to Romero. His only play to first base in time. Coming in to score, Reynolds. The Mariners lead it 1-0. And for Jeffrey Leonard, his 36th RBI of the year. The ball not hit hard enough for Romero to have any play on Harold Reynolds, who was coming in on contact. And here's Kenny. Griffey with 68 hits will not get a chance to hit this time. They'll take the bat away from him. An intentional base on balls. That will be the third walk given up in the inning. And they will take their chances instead with Edgar Martinez. Sparky Anderson could not run for dog catcher right now and win in Seattle. But, of course, this is baseball strategy. They get the right-handed bat up next, and they have an out at any base, of course, with the exception of home plate. So Jeff Robinson will deliver ball 4 to the kid, Ken Griffey Jr. And here it comes. So Kenny will toss the timber away and trot on out to first base. Edgar Martinez hitting .333. Number 4 in the league at hitting. And Edgar last night blanked as he went 0 for 3, but scored a couple of times on bases on balls.
Sparky's no dummy. He probably saw Kenny about age 6 in 1975 hitting tee shots way back when. So he takes the bat away from Griffey, and Martinez doing a great job swinging the bat all season long.
And Jay Buhner is on deck. The M's leading it 1-0 without the benefit of a base hit here in the first, thanks to the wildness of Jeff Robinson. Jeff from his stretch. Here comes the pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez now. And it's a strike, a slider that time, right at the knees, 0-1. Eric Hansen and Frank Tanana tomorrow afternoon. Monday will be the travel day. The M's will head on into the Windy City. Robinson's one strike pitch now to Edgar Martinez. This time it's a breaking ball down low and in the dirt. Knocked down nicely by Mike Heath. No advance by Davis or by Griffey. 1-1. Crowd last night of 14,298. Many of them dancing until early morning here at the Kingdome, as it was the second singles night of the year. Robinson with the 1-1 pitch now, and it's taken strike 2. Call right over the outside edge at the belt buckle. A ball and 2 strikes on Edgar. Martinez at slightly closed stance. Jeff Robinson his stretch. Here comes the 1-2 pitch on the way, and a fastball just inside. That's the cut fastball that time. The count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hope it's been a pleasant day. Nice day to do a little yard work. I'm sure a lot of people were out doing yard work. You too, Rick.
You betcha.
Here comes the stretch. And the 2-2 on the way now. Swung on and foul back out of play. Still 22 the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Al Clark now is sending Edgar Martinez to first base. I don't know if it's catcher's interference or what.
It would have to be catcher's interference on the swing. Clark making the call, and now Mike Heath putting up a beef with Al Clark. And here comes Sparky out of the Tigers' first base dugout. So evidently it is catcher's interference on the swing. We get a chance to look at it one more time on the replay, and
I didn't see it.
It didn't look like he actually hit the glove, so the Mariners maybe a break. But Edgar Martinez right away was looking back, so he might have felt something on the swing coming down through the strike zone.
Okay, then give an error to Mike Heath, the catcher, on catcher's interference. And how many times during the course of the year would one guess that you would come up with the bases loaded? Well, Jay Buhner has done it 2 times in 2 games. Last night he hit the grand slam home run in the first, and here he is with the bases loaded tonight. So the Tigers on the catcher's interference call by Al Clark. Charged with the error. Heath gets the error, and here's Jay Buhner. He couldn't do it 2 nights in a row in the first inning, could he?
Oh, why not? He has 2 grand slams. He hit the long one last night in the first. Wouldn't that be something? Second day on the job for Jay Buhner.
Jay 3 for 5 last night with those 5 RBIs. Buhner right up on top of the plate. No place to put him. Here comes the big right-handers. Wind the pitch on the way to Buhner now, and the fastball swung on and hit deep to left field, but hooking foul. And I'm not sure it had home run depth anyway. It was foul by about 20 feet. And it landed just, I believe, in front of where the fence would have been. So Buhner gave the fans a thrill, but that's just a loud foul strike. 0-1 the count on Jay Buhner. Davis and Griffey and Martinez at third, second, and first. Jeff Robinson ready with a 1-strike pitch. Here she comes to Jay Buhner on the way, and the slider low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike on the big Texan, Jay Buhner. Scott Bradley, the Mariner receiver, due next. Jeff Robinson, a peek over at third base at Alvin, and the 1-1 pitch to Buhner, and the fastball in on the hands high. Ball 2, 2-1. So Robinson is really struggling here in the first with his control. Walked 3, 1 of them intentionally. Now the big right-hander, again a peek over to Alvin. The 2-1 pitch to Buhner, and the fastball swung on and hit to left field right at Gary Ward. He doesn't move a muscle. Buhner hit it about as hard as you can hit it, but right to Ward to retire the side. In the first, the Mariners pick up 1 run on no hits, 1 error. 3 are left for the end. And at the end of 1-0, Mariners. Well, there's Cecil Fielder, who with his 19th home run last night tied Jose Canseco for the Major League lead in home runs. Fielder also with 47 RBIs. That is number 2 in the league to Canseco, who has 49. Canseco and the A's tonight being clobbered by Kansas City 10-2 in the bottom of the 8th. Randy Johnson into his wind, and the pitch on the way to Fielder, and the fastball a little bit high. Randy Johnson, very un-Johnson-esque. In the first inning, only threw 8 pitches, and 7 of them were strikes. And he starts Fielder off with a high fastball here in the second. And Randy back in with the next pitch, and this time the fastball is just a tad inside. Ball 2, 2-0. Al Clark making the ball and strike calls behind home plate. Fielder, a big, broad-shouldered lad, 26 years of age, and the pitch on the way to Cecil down. The breaking ball strike, a slider that time, 2-1. At the kneecaps on the inside edge. Hope you heard our chat with him on our postgame show. 2-1 pitch on the way. Fastball swing and a miss, and that ball moving down and away from Fielder. Down even at 2-2. A delightful young man, and really enjoyed his Japanese experience last year, playing in the Far East. Here comes the rock, and the 2-1 pitch on the way, and the breaking ball just inside. Not by much. He had Fielder fooled on that off-speed slider. Full count, 3-2. And the big guy back with a payoff pitch now to Fielder, and this time the fastball high outside. Ball 4. So a leadoff base on balls to Fielder, and that'll bring up Chester Lemon, who until last night had missed 8 games in a row because of a sore calf. And Lemon came into the ball game last night pinch hitting in the 3rd inning when Matt Young came in to take over and delivered a base hit. Chester Lemon. Lemon used to really go get him in center field, now playing right field, platooning with Larry Sheets. The pitch high and outside, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Fielder has not attempted a stolen base this year. He's not hired to steal bases. Here comes the Randy Johnson stretch, and RJ's 1-0 pitch on the way. Fastball, strike at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, you like to get the free use of the car? Call Budget, rent a car. Ask about their free-wheeler program. After 5 rentals with Budget, you get 2 rental days free. In Seattle, call 682-CARS. That's 682-CARS. Call Budget. Become a free-wheeler. Randy's 1-1 pitch to Chester Lemon. Time call by Lemon just as RJ was ready to bring that right foot up into the air and deliver, and the time granted by home plate umpire Al Clark. Lemon stands up in the front of that right-handed batter's box. Here comes the stretch. The pitch on the way to him. Swung on, hard ground ball, just foul down the left field line, hitting the front of the enemy bullpen and bouncing out into fair territory where Henry Cotto picks it up and throws it back as a souvenir. 1-2. The Tigers lost 103 games last year. Not only did they finish 30 games from the top in the East, Toronto, of course, winning, but they were so far back they couldn't even see Cleveland, who was in 6th. They finished 14 games behind the Cleveland Indians. Here comes the stretch. The 1-2 pitch on the way, and a breaking ball inside, ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and of course it got to be so bad last year that Sparky Anderson went to Southern California to rest for a while, and when he returned it didn't turn around. Here comes the southpaw stretch, and the 2-2 pitch on the way. Fastball popped up right side. Harold Reynolds drifting backpedaling just in shallow right field, is there to make the catch. So 1 out, and that'll bring up Mike Heath.
Catcher, number 8, Mike Heath.
The June free agent draft Monday. The Mariners pick 6th. I believe the Tigers pick 2nd. I believe it's the National League's turn to pick 1st this year.
Yeah, Atlanta has the first pick.
And perhaps tomorrow we can chat with someone from the Mariner scouting department about the possibilities. The pitch, strike at the knees on our pregame show, hopefully. Of course, the draft in the major leagues in baseball, they only announce the first-round picks, and we don't know who the second through. I think they pick for about 3 days. Here comes the stretch. And the 0-1 pitch on the way now. And Heath taking just inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mike with a 6-game hitting streak and having a tremendous year with the bat. 45 for 125, hitting 360. Now the stretch. The 1-1 pitch on the way to Heath, and the breaking ball swing and a miss. Slider in on the hand. A ball and 2 strikes. And there's obviously a very, in some ways, a very selfish reason that Major League Baseball does not announce rounds 2 through whatever. 1 ball and 2 strikes now, the stretch. And the 1-2 pitch on the way, and it swung on a double play ball. Hit right to Brumley. He'll underhand to Reynolds, and Reynolds throw to Davis in time for the double play. And that will retire the side. Bottom half of inning number 2. 1-0 thanks to the wildness of Jeff Robinson in the first inning. The only run coming in to score on a Jeffrey Leonard ground ball to third, and Harold Reynolds scoring from third base, and the Mariners leaving 3 men aboard in that first inning, although Jay Buhner, the final out in the inning, blistered the ball 1 more time, but hit it right on the button to Gary Ward. And Jeff Robinson threw 31 pitches, an inordinate number of pitches in 1 inning in that first. And Scott Bradley, the Mariner catcher, steps in to lead it off. And Robbie is into his wind, and the pitch on the way, and the breaking ball high, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Baltimore and New York moving into the 9th inning at Yankee Stadium. And the 1-0 pitch on the way to Scotty, and it swung on a ground ball hit right to Tony Phillips. The second baseman has it and throws him out easily. 1 away in the Mariners' second, and Mike Brumley, the shortstop, will be the hitter. Baltimore 4, the Yankees 2 in the 9th. Cleveland scored 3 in the bottom of the 8th. Rob Murphy taking the defeat. Jerry Reed also worked in that ball game. Sergio Valdez, the winner for Cleveland tonight, with Doug Jones picking up his 18th save after losing it last night in the 9th. Here comes the wind. The pitch on the way to Brumley. High the fastball from Jeff Robinson, ball one. One ball and no strikes. Oakland is at Kansas City behind Brett Saberhagen. Royals 10, Oakland 2 in the bottom of the 8th. The 1-0 pitch on the way now to Mr. Brumley, and it's taken low and outside. Mike Brumley, one of 8 third basemen used by the Detroit Tigers last year. That's right. They used 8 different third basemen, and Mike Brumley was one of them. They started out with Chris Brown. You remember Chris Brown, who always seemed to be hurt. They had Brumley. Mike Heath played some third base. They had Torey Lovello. They had Al Pedrique. They had Rick Shue and Doug Strange. 8 of them. Al Clark and Mr. Sparky Anderson apparently going at it a little bit as Clark took his mask off and started yelling over in that Tiger dugout. The 2-0 pitch, and the pitch is a swing and a miss. It took a little bit off that time. And the count 2-1. California and the Texas Rangers are in the 7th with the Rangers leading 5-3. We mentioned Rick Shue. Well, he's with California this year, and he's hit a home run in that ball game. 2-1 pitch. Swinging a foul tip into and out of the glove of Mike Heath. The count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nice crowd of around 15,000 or so here tonight, maybe more than that. And here comes the 2-2 pitch on the way now. Strike 3 call right on the outside corner. I think we got closer to 20,000 here tonight. So 2 down for the M's. First strikeout for Jeff Robinson. And here comes the M's leadoff man, Harold Reynolds. Reynolds walked and scored the only run of the ball game in the first. Roger Youngward, the M's director of scouting, and all of his scouts are here, of course, going over lots and lots of videotape. The pitch on the way to Harold. And down low and inside the breaking ball. A kid by the name of Van Poppel out of Texas, a high school kid, is expected to be the #1 pick by Atlanta, but nobody can be for sure. The 1-0 pitch, and a strike is taken right at the knees. Hard throwing right-hander, I guess. It throws it in the 95-mile-an-hour range. Here comes the rock and the 1-1 pitch on the way. And it's taken just low and outside. And these Detroit Tigers are eyeing a kid with the last name of Clark down in the San Diego area. He's a big kid, 6'7", 6'8", and has a full-ride basketball scholarship to Arizona. The 2-1 pitch on the way. Strike 2 called on the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. But it shall be interesting. There is a tremendous baseball magazine. I know most of you baseball fans are very familiar with it and subscribe to it. It's called Baseball America, and they do a marvelous job, I think, of handicapping the selections. The 2-2 pitch on the way, just outside, ball 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes the count. Now the wind and the 3-2 pitch on the way. High inside, ball 4. And that's already 4 bases on balls given up by Jeff Robinson. However, 1 intentionally. And here comes Henry Cotto, who hit a fly ball to Gary Ward in the first inning. The National League game's underway. Cincinnati at Los Angeles. And the Reds and the Dodgers are tied at 1-1 in the second. Tim Belcher against Jose Arrijo. San Diego with a 2-0 lead over the Atlanta Braves in the bottom half of the second inning play. Roberto Alomar. The Alomar home run is second of the year in that one. A throw to first, and Reynolds back on his hands and knees. Harold at first with 2 outs and nobody on. Cotto pinwheeling that bat around, hands right down on the knob, the stretch. And the throw to first base, and again Reynolds scoots back on his belly to the bag. Ward, Williams, and Lemon, the outfield straight away. Reynolds has been successful 7 times in 12 attempts. Jeff Robinson is stretch. Here comes the pitch on the way. Cotto shows the bunt, and of course with 2 down, he was not going to bunt for sacrifice. And just wanted to see if he could throw him a strike, and he did not. It was way outside, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Plummer continuing to throw out the signs down at third.
Mike Heath was busy last night. The Mariners had 3 stolen bases, so he knows that he needs Robinson to try to help him out, to try to keep the runner close.
And Jeff can do it. He's got a good move. The pitch on the way. Cotto this time again just kind of lays the bat out over the plate and says throw one over, and Robinson can't comply. This one misses low and outside. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. .135 game time tomorrow. And the Mariners are gone for a week in Chicago and Detroit. The pitch. There goes the runner. The pitch is a strike. Throw through by Heath, right on the money, but it gets into center field by Phillips, and picking up the ball, Williams, and Williams will just lob it back in. So Harold Reynolds with his 8th stolen base, an error on Mike Heath, the catcher. As the throw kind of short hopped Tony Phillips down at second base, so Reynolds gets up and moves on into third now with 2 away. So Reynolds now 8 out of 13. And Henry Cotto taking the strike that time. So the count 2-1. Reynolds walking down the line from third. Robinson a peek over there into his line. The 2-1 pitch to Henry Cotto. High, outside, ball 3, 3-1. Henry Cotto has been hot. He has been red hot. Here's the wind and the 3-1 pitch on the way to Henry. High, ball 4. So that's 5 walks for Jeff Robinson. And here's Alvin, the recipient of one of the free passes in the 2nd inning. Runners at first and third. He didn't want to walk Henry Cotto and have to face an Alvin Davis that is just well over D to really hammer one. Here comes Billy Muffet, the pitching coach of the Detroit Tigers, and our man from Monroe, Louisiana, sauntering out to the mound. He's about the only pitching coach I know that saunters to the mound. The rest of them kind of walk out there, don't they?
A number of years ago, Billy lost a lot of weight. What did he lose? About 40 pounds a couple of years ago. It looks like he's in great shape. So Billy out there to try to settle down Jeff Robinson. The Mariners have yet to have a base into this ball game, but in the first 2 innings of the game, the Mariners have had Robinson on the ropes. They scored a run in the bottom of the 1st inning on an infield out by Jeffrey Leonard. Alvin Davis talked with AD before the ball game. He said that Robinson likes to pitch him away. That's exactly what he did in the 1st inning. Fell behind with fastballs away, so Alvin Davis will be looking away toward left center field if he gets a pitch on the outside corner.
And if he gets one in, he'll just turn on it. He'll park it. Here comes the right-hander stretch. And the pitch on the way to Alvin, and the fastball away on the outside corner at the knees for a strike. 0-1. Reynolds with his helmet off for a second, wiping his brow, and then puts it back on down at third. Cotto just bent over at the knees and now taking a couple of step lead over at first base. 1 foot out on the carpet, 1 on the dirt. Here comes the stretch. The 0-1 pitch on the way to Alvin Davis from Jeffrey now, and it swung on and popped out of play off the third base side. So Robinson quickly 2 strikes on Alvin Davis. Tigers, no runs, no hits. They have already committed 2 errors. The other error on the catcher's interference by Mike Heath. So Mike has both errors, one a throwing error. Mariners 1 run, no hits. But all kinds of base runners because of Robinson's wildness. Now Jeff is set. Here comes the 0-2 pitch on the way to Alvin Davis now, and this time it's a fastball swing and a miss, and he struck him out. So that will be that for the Mariners in the 2nd. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 men are left. The Mariners have stranded 5 through 2. And at the end of 2, 1-0 end.
Washington's best ones.
Leading it off for Detroit is designated hitter Tracy Jones. He'll be followed by third baseman Ed Romero, and then center fielder Kenny Williams. Left-hander Randy Johnson off to a good start tonight. Of the 6 batters he has faced so far, 5 first pitch strikes. He has thrown 23 in the game. Here's the windup and the big southpaw's pitch on the way. Fastball swing and a pop-up. Right at the mound, Randy Johnson calling for it, but he gives way to Edgar Martinez, and Martinez to the backside of the hill makes the catch. 1 pitch, 1 away. Randy Johnson said, hey, fellas, I've got a glove on. I can catch it, but Edgar Martinez yelling Randy off the ball. And the 6'10 guy gives way to the 5'10 guy, and he makes the catch. So 1 out, and here's third baseman Ed Romero. Romero hitting just .206, no home runs, and 2 runs batted in. Veteran utility infielder, the windup and the pitch. Slider is in there for a strike. 0-1. So 7 of 8 first pitch strikes for Randy Johnson. And the 0-1 pitch. Fastball low and inside. Ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Man, when he's throwing strikes, he's got a great chance to beat you. At times, he has struggled and struggled with his control. He gets in jams with the walks, but he's off to a great start tonight. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastball high and away. Ball 2, 2-1. On deck, center fielder Kenny Williams. Mariners had their way with the Tigers last year. They were 8-4 against the Tigers in 1989. Randy in with the sign from Scott Bradley. Here's the 2-1 offer on the way, and it's high. Ball 3. 3-1. Randy took care of the Tigers 1-2-3 in the first, 1-2-3 in the second, despite a leadoff walk. The Cecil fielder with 1 out. He got Mike Heath to hit into a 6-4-3 double play. The fastball on the way, and it's just outside. Ball 4. So Romero draws a walk, and that's the second walk given up by Randy Johnson. 1 on and 1 out. And here's center fielder Kenny Williams.
Center fielder, number 25.
Well, tomorrow afternoon's M's Tigers game is Baseball Card Album Day, thanks to Smokey the Bear and Michelangelo of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Will be in hand to meet fans and throw out the first pitch. Remember that you can always purchase your tickets in advance at the Kingdome or by calling Ticketmaster at 628-0888. Michelangelo will be here. Here's the stretch by Randy. The hesitation, now the pitch on the way. Fastball zips high and inside to Williams. Ball 1. Kenny Williams. A look down to third base coach Alex Grammis. Williams hitting just 161, no home runs, and 5 RBIs. Here's the stretch and a throw to first base to get Romero back. Outfield plays him straight away. Cano in left, Griffey in center, Buhner in right. Infield again looking for the double play ball. Buhner, or rather Brumley at short, and Reynolds at second base. Buhner straight away in right. Here's the pitch on the way. Breaking ball, swing, and a miss by Williams, and the count is even at 1-1. Randy in his last outing last Sunday, a 5-1 loss against the Toronto Blue Jays. He went 5 2/3 innings. He gave up 6 hits, 5 runs all earned, 3 long balls, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Last win, May the 17th in Toronto, 14-6. The pitch, check, swing, and it's low. Did he go? The appeal down to the first base umpire, Darrell Cousins. He did not. Ball 2. 2-1. Tigers have scored their share of runs this year, 227 runs, averaging 4.5 runs a game, but they have given up quite a few, almost 5 runs a game. Randy, the stretch. And the 2-1 pitch to Williams. Swing and a miss on the fastball right on the inside corner. The count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And victory in Toronto. Randy got a lot of support early in that game with 9 runs in the third against Jimmy Key of the Blue Jays, who was only a few days ago was placed on the disabled list. The stretch. Johnson's 2-2 pitch. Slider, strike 3 called right on the inside corner. Kenny Williams caught looking, 2 outs. And for Randy, strikeout number 2. And let's pause for station identification. This is the Seattle Mariners Radio Network. Two outs and 1 out for the Tigers here in the top of the third. Mariners lead 1-0, and here's leadoff batter, second baseman Tony Phillips. The pitch, fastball swing, and a pop-up into shallow right center field over Buhner and Griffey, and it's going to be Griffey who makes the easy catch for out number 3. In the top of the third for the Tigers, no runs, no hits, no errors, and a man left on. And after 2.5 innings of play here in the Kingdome, it's the Mariners 1 and the Tigers 0. 1-0 as we go to the bottom half of the third. And the M's will send up designated hitter Jeffrey Leonard, center fielder Ken Griffey Jr., and third baseman Edgar Martinez. Here's the Heck man. Jeffrey Leonard 0 for 1 with a run batted in. Robinson's first pitch is high and wide, ball 1, and Robinson is still trying to get into a groove. The high-throwing big right-hander still has yet to settle down. He's been all over the place with his fastball, slider, and the forkball. The pitch on the way, and it's high and over the head of Jeffrey Leonard, who ducks away from ball 2. So it's 2-0 the count. Robinson heaved a wild pitch in the bottom of the first inning, then that cost him a run. Reynolds went to third. Alvin Davis down to second base. Then they intentionally walked Ken Griffey Jr. Here's the pitch to Leonard. Slider, swing and a miss. It was down and away. But Leonard chased it for strike 1, 2 balls and 1 strike. With the runners on at second and third and 1 out, Jeffrey Leonard hit a 2-hopper out to third baseman Eddie Romero. Now the play, Reynolds was able to score from third base. So Robinson's wildness has cost him already. Here's the pitch, fastball, swing, and a high fly ball into shallow right field. Over near the line is Chet Lemon. He's there, camps underneath, and he makes the catch. 1 away. And here's center fielder Ken Griffey Jr., who was intentionally walked in the bottom of the first inning. Robinson has already walked 5 in the game, and he has fanned 2. He had both strikeouts in the second. So he retires the leadoff batter. Jeffrey Leonard here in the third. Mariners lead 1-0. And here's Griffey hitting .351, starting play tonight, tied for the league lead and average at .351, along with Ozzie Guillen of the Chicago White Sox. What a year it's been for the Sox. Robinson's pitch, and it's down low, ball 1. Griffey third in home runs with 10 and 7th in RBIs with 31. He is number 1 in hits with 68. Way off the line at third, into the hole at short is Romero, the third baseman. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball, line drive, left center field, but over quickly. Kenny Williams, he's there, and he makes the catch. 2 outs. Ball was hit hard, but Williams didn't have too far to go. The pitching staff has struggled. Here's the 1-0 on the way. Slider, that's high. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. 457 hits, 247 runs allowed, 206 walks. The worst marks in the major leagues in those 3 departments. Jack Morris struggled last night, but he got the win, going 5 innings to pick up his 3rd win of the year. He's now 3-7 as the Tigers won 9-7. The windup and the 2-0 pitch. Fastball, strike at the knees on Martinez, 2-1. Edgar having a great year, now hitting .333. 7 home runs and 20 runs batted in. He had a big at-bat last night in the bottom of the first inning when he walked. But he made Morris work, and then Buhner hit the slam. Here's the pitch, up and away. Ball 3. 3-1. Those things stand out to any manager. I appreciate an effort like that to work your way onto first base. Martinez went to 0-2 in the count on Morris. Here's the pitch on the way. Swing and a pop-up outside of first, and this one will make it its way back up into the crowd, out of play, and the count is now full on Edgar. And 3 balls and 2 strikes. The Mariners and the Tigers will close out the series tomorrow afternoon. Game time is 1:35, and we'll take there at 1:06. Eric Hansen gets the start for the M's, a record of 5-3 against veteran left-hander Frank Tanana, a record of 3-3. Outfield, straight away, deep in left field is Gary Ward. Robinson shakes off one side. He likes the next. Here's the windup and the 3-2 pitch. Up and in as Martinez has to back away from ball 4. So already walk number 6 served up by Jeff Robinson. And here's Jay Buhner. First time up tonight, he lined a shot right at left fielder Gary Ward.
Number 19, Dave
On a 2-1 pitch. Last night in his first game of the season, he went 3 for 5 with a grand slam, home run, 2 singles, and 5 runs batted in. Here's the stretch and the pitch on the way to Jay, and it's down over the heart of the plate for a strike, 0-1. Buhner, a AAA Calgary and a rehab, hit .206 with 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in. That's the first 2 months of the year with that sprained ankle. The pitch low and outside in the dirt, knocked down. Nice play by the catcher Mike Heath. Ball 1, 1 ball and 1 strike, and he has already blocked at least 5 pitches from Jeff Robinson. We're only in the 3rd. Robinson, the good year in 1988 when he went 13-6. As Dave mentioned, he was bothered by circulatory problems in his fingers that season. He was on the DL twice last year. Here's the stretch. And Robinson's 1-1 pitch in the dirt again with a slider, and another nice block by the catcher, Mike Keith. To keep Edgar Martinez over at first base. Ball 2-2-1 the count on Jay Buhner. Mariners lead 1-0 here in the bottom half of inning number 3. On deck for the Mariners, catcher Scott Bradley. The M's now 3-6 on the homestand. Robinson the stretch. Here's the pitch in the dirt again, knocked down again by Heath. Throw to first base, and Martinez goes diving back safely into the bag. Martinez with a big break down the line between first and second, but then he noticed that Mike Heath did another great job as Robinson has been playing catch with Heath's chest protector, and Heath was able to knock it down, keep the ball out in front of him, and the count is now 3-1 on Jay Buhner. Here's the pitch, and the 3-1 offer on the way. Swinging a ground ball into the hole at short. Taken by Trammell, who'll go to second for the force there on Edgar Martinez, and that will retire the side. In the bottom of the third for the M's, no runs, no hits, no errors, and a man left on. The Mariners have stranded 6 through 3, and after 3 innings of play here in the Kingdome, it's the Mariners 1 and the Tigers 0.
You're watching the best of the Mariners on KSTW TV 11. Washington's best ones.
So here we go into the 4th, and Alan Trammell, the veteran shortstop of the Tigers, who hit one to the shortstop, Mike Brumley, in the first inning, will start it off. And then Gary Ward, the left fielder, and then Cecil Fielder, the first baseman. Randy Johnson has not allowed a hit, nor has Jeff Robinson, but Robinson has walked 6, and the Mariners have stranded 6. The Tigers leaving one man in this ball game. Randy Johnson has walked 2. So here comes Trammell now at that closed stance. Here comes the big left-hander's look in. And he goes into his motion, and his first pitch on the way. And the breaking ball, a slider a little bit high, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Randy Johnson has thrown 36 pitches. Jeff Robinson 1 shy of 70. And the 1-0 pitch on the way by R.J. Fastball taken high and a little off at that. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Johnson's first inning is most impressive when he threw 8 pitches and only 1 ball. The 2-0 pitch to Alan Trammell, and it's taken for a strike at the knees, and Trammell didn't believe so. He thought it was inside and kind of peeks back at Al Clark, the home plate umpire, who made the call. The count goes to 2-1. The Tigers, with the win last night, snapping a 5-game losing streak. Randy Johnson's 2-1 pitch to Alan Trammell, and a change, breaking ball, strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Mariners are not having the homestand they had hoped for. 3-6 on this homestand, and now 6 games under 500 at home. The 2-2 pitch, and the chain swung on and ripped foul. Another breaking ball is down the left field line. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Mariners on this homestand have been out-homered 11-6. Now Randy back with the 2-2 pitch on the way, and the fastball hit down the right field line. That's going to slice back into the stands. Souvenir time down there, so it's still 2 balls and 2 strikes. I understand that Phil Best of Auburn couldn't attend the game because of his back injury tonight, and his buddy Brad wanted to say wish you were here and wish him best, and we're happy to pass that along, and I hope that back injury's coming along all right also, Phil. 2-2. Here comes the wind, and the 2-2 pitch on the way to Trammell, and the breaking ball just barely outside. High. Ball 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Veteran 32-year-old shortstop Alan Trammell making Randy Johnson work. Here comes the wind, and the 3-2 pitch on the way, and the breaking ball swung on, and a little blooper hit it into shallow center field, but drifting back is Earl Reynolds to one-hand the ball. 3-2 breaking ball. So 1 down, and that'll bring up Gary Ward. Ward hit the ball hard, got a fastball and hit it into the gap in right center, but Griffey made a rather routine running catch of the ball in the first inning. Randy Johnson is wide, and the pitch to Gary. High and outside, smoked that time. Good fastball, but high. 1 ball and no strikes. Texas coming back to knock off the Angels tonight, 6-3 down in Arlington. The 1-0 pitch on the way. Ward taking way high and outside, backhanded by Scott Bradley. 2 balls and no strikes. So everything in the American League is over with the exception of ours here this evening. Minnesota beating the White Sox. And Kansas City beating Oakland. The 2-0 pitch, and Ward taking a strike, a slider. 2-1. The Mariners leading it by the slimmest of margins, 1-0. And Randy Johnson's 2-1 pitch to Gary Ward. A slider. Did he go? They say, yeah, I did. First base umpire Darrell Cousins had right hand in the air. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gary Ward wearing that shin protector, that shin guard on his front foot, the left foot. Randy Johnson bends over at the waist, comes in with the 2-2 pitch now. And the breaking ball swung on and slapped right to Brumley. The shortstop bobbles it, knocks it down, picks it up, no throw. Routine ground ball, and that will be an error on Mike Brumley. Brumley, after he tried to pick it up, dropped it again. So E6. And now you've got the league's #1 home run man, along with Canseco up at the plate, and Cecil Fielder. He walked in the second inning. So Randy Johnson working from the stretch for the 3rd consecutive inning. Here's the left-hander stretch. Pitch on the way now to Fielder. Swung on and fouled straight back, and Fielder does not get cheated. He is up there a hacket. 1-1. Fielder blowing a big bubble as he steps to the left of home plate with some of that rubberized gum. Boy, it is. Here comes the left-hander stretch. And the 0-1 on the way to Fielder now. Fastball foul back again. This time it will end up into the upper deck and fouled by a couple of people, and back down below it comes. Nice crowd on this Saturday night. 0-2 on Cecil Fielder. Now the southpaw is set. And the 0-2 pitch on the way. And the breaking ball just low, barely, ball 1-2. Randy wearing number 51 on his back. Now the southpaw set. And the 1-2 pitch on the way to Fielder, and the fastball swing and a miss, and down he goes. So he came after him with the #1 pitch and got it. So that is number 3 for Randy Johnson in the strikeout department. 2 outs in the Detroit 4th. And Chester Lemon, the hitter. Lemon popped up to Harold Reynolds. His only at bat in the 2nd inning. Still looking for a first hit in this ball game by either side. The stretch. Pitch on the way instead of a throw to first base, and Gary Ward is back. Dick Tracewski looks like he's wearing a cast on his left forearm down there at first base. All he's doing is holding Gary Ward's shin protector. Here comes the stretch, the pitch on the way, and it's a strike, a slider right on the outside corner to Chester. 0-1. Chester, always thought very underrated as an outfielder. As a hitter, he's been a very, very steady performer all these many years. Here comes the stretch. And the 0-1 pitch. There goes Ward. The pitch is swung on, and a ground ball pushed toward the hole. Right there is Martinez to gobble it up to a 360 and throw him out. Good play by Edgar Martinez. And the 4th is history. Detroit, no runs, no hits, 1 Mariner error, and 1 Tiger left.
There are a couple of very good reasons why you should buy
Jack in the Box restaurant. By your Puget Sound Dodge dealers. By Cuprinol. We promise the best. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car.
We go to the bottom half of inning number 4. Scott Bradley will step in and lead it off for the Mariners. Scotty, a ground ball to second in the 2nd inning. He also struck out. Or rather, Mike Brumley, who was next, struck out. The pitch to Bradley, and there's the strike this time by Robinson. Robinson has walked 6, but only 1 has scored. Jeff Robinson ready to come back with the next delivery. And here's the one-strike pitch to Scotty. And it's down low. That's the fork ball. Ball one. One ball and one strike. A big gap in right center field as Kenny Williams, the center fielder, pulled over into left center. And Chester Lemon very deep in right for Scott Bradley. The 1-1 pitch on the way by Robinson. Very high. Ball 2, 2-1. Remember Frank Tanana tomorrow against Eric Hansen. The veteran against the youngster. The 2-1 pitch now by Robbie, and it swung on and fouled straight back below us off to our right. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Scott Bradley, a career .280 hitter against right-handed pitching. Jeff Robinson did not face the Mariners last year. 3-2 in his career. Now the 28-year-old right-hander back with a 2-2 pitch to Scott, and the fastball trying to come back over the inside edge, and it may have, but it was high anyway. So the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Scott Bradley. Robinson nods all right, and the 3-2 pitch on the way to Scott, and it swung on and slapped hard right to the first baseman fielder, who makes a nice pickup of it, then just kind of nonchalants the ball over to Robinson, covering the bag at first. 3-1, 1 down in the 4th, and Mike Brumley, the shortstop, will be the hitter. Brumley struck out looking in the 2nd inning. Cecil Fielder surprised you with his glove over at first base. He made some fine defensive plays last evening. We're still looking for a hit in this ball game by either side. Jeff Robinson winds the pitch on the way. Brumley taking a strike outside corner. 0-1. Pretty good velocity at that time by Jeff Robinson. Nothing wrong with his velocity. It's his location and his control. And Jeff back with the 1-strike pitch now to Brumley, and it's swinging and a foul straight back. 2 strikes on Brumley with Harold Reynolds due next. The other 2 games on the coast still going. San Diego shutting out Atlanta 5-0 in the bottom of the 4th down in San Diego. And the Reds leading the Dodgers 3-1 top of the 5th in L.A. High to fastball this time to Brumley. 1 ball and 2 strikes in the only other game at Busch Stadium in St. Louis in the bottom half of the 9th. The Cubs leading the St. Louis Cardinals 7-6. Everything else over today. Jeff Robinson's 1-2 pitch to Mike Brumley, and the fastball swung on and lined down the left field line. That's the first base hit of the ball game. It's going to go for extra bases. Brumley on his way for 2 as Gary Ward digs it out of the corner. And the Mariners have a 1-out double from Brumley. So there is hit number 1 by either side. And that'll bring up Harold Reynolds. And the Mariners fans a meter getting into the red over there now as they show it up on the screen. As far as Mike Brumley is concerned, that is his 4th double of the year to go with his 4 triples. Harold Reynolds twice has walked. Outfield, Ward moving over to the left. Williams a little into left center. Reynolds can pull the ball here. He's got an easy base here. Here's the stretch. And the pitch on the way to Harold, and the fastball straight down the middle at the 0-1. When the Mariners return home after their sojourn into Chicago and Detroit, they'll be home for only 6 days. The stretch and the 1 pitch on the way. Harold taking low inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. You'll get your first chance to look at the surprising Chicago White Sox. They'll be here Monday the 11th, Tuesday the 12th, and Wednesday the 13th of June. And that Wednesday the 13th game is our first and very popular business person special of the year. Here comes the stretch. And the 1-1 pitch on the way to Reynolds. Swung on, fouled back and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This year, the business person specials will start at 12:35, and you might want to put that on your calendar if you want to take the afternoon off on Wednesday, the 13th of June. The M's and the Chicago White Sox, and the Rangers come in for 4 games. Here comes the stretch. And the 1-2 pitch on the way. Harold taking down low in the dirt. It gets away from Heath, heading down to third and making it easily. Mike Brumley standing up. That'll be a wild pitch. And the second wild pitch thrown by Jeff Robinson in this ball game. And now let's see how the Tigers play it. They will come up on the infield all the way around. The infield up, the nod no by Robinson, and Reynolds stepping away. Romero even with a bag at third. Trammell and Phillips up at short and second. Fielder about even with a bag at first. The gap is in right center for Harold Reynolds. Robinson is stretched. The 2-2 pitch on the way to Harold Reynolds now, and it swung on, and a fly ball hit to left field. Gary Ward is right there tagging at third. Brumley, here he comes. The throw to the plate is not in time. Cut off. The Mariners lead it 2-0. Sacrifice fly by Harold Reynolds, and he picks up his 21st RBI of the year. Nice job by Harold. So 2-0 Mariners. Here comes Henry Cotto.
Left fielder Henry Cotto.
Cotto, a fly ball to left, and he is walked. Alvin Davis to next. 2 outs. Boy, the run's scarce, but the M's have manufactured 2 on only 1 hit here tonight. The pitch on the way to Henry. Swung on, pulled right down the third baseline. Backhanded by Romero behind the bag at third. Throws to first in time. Good play by Eddie Romero. But the Mariners get another 1 run on 1 hit. No errors and nobody left.
It's a television classic. Look
On KSTW TV 11, Washington's best ones.
So here's Mike Heath to start it off against Randy Johnson, and the pitch on the way by R.J. Foul straight back and out of play. A good fastball behind home plate. 0-1. Tracy Jones, the designated hitter, and then Ed Romero, the third baseman. Randy back in with the 1-strike pitch now, and it's a breaking ball way low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. '26-year-old southpaw back with the 1-1 pitch, and the breaking ball foul back, the slider. A ball and 2 strikes. Well, friends, nothing cools down a hot summer thirst faster than an ice-cold Busch beer. So be sure to have plenty of smooth tasting Busch beer on hand wherever you're enjoying the game. Here comes the 1-2 pitch on the way now, and the breaking ball swung on and slapped on 2 hops right to Martinez at third base, and the throw to first in time. Got a report from the Martini over at Port Orchard. The fleet over there listening tonight, Rick.
Yeah.
As Martin said, he's been kind of boat hopping over there, getting ready for his reports tomorrow, and just called via ship to shore. Or maybe that was just a loud shout I heard on the telephone.
Hope he can find his way back home.
Yeah, people. He won't right now. I made a mile. Here comes the wind and the pitch on the way to Tracy, and it's taken down low. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes.
I love listening to Jack Morton.
Does a good job.
He sure does.
Now Randy back with the 1-0 pitch on the way, and the strike is called. A good slider. 1 ball and 1 strike. I think we tend to forget how many fans we have that listen to our podcasts who are in either pleasure craft or commercial shipping. Here comes the 1-1 pitch on the way. Swung on, popped up. Left side of the infield. Martinez is there, but Brumley calls him off, and Mike makes the catch. 2 outs. And Randy Johnson, with nobody on and 2 in the well, will look at Eddie Romero. You know, you get into a ball game 6, 7 innings, and you look up and there's that 0 in the H column. Then it gets interesting, and it's beginning to get interesting for Randy Johnson. Here's the pitch to Romero. Slice foul down the right field line for a strike on 1. 2 runs, 1 hit for the Mariners. No runs, no hit for Detroit City. Randy Johnson leaning down, smoothing out some of that terra firma with that big 38-inch wingspan, and then gets back up on top. Here comes the wind and the 0-1 pitch on the way to Romero. A little high, the fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Randy bent over at the waist, comes in with the 1-1 pitch, and the breaking ball swung on and poked to right field. Jay Buhner, however, is right there to make the catch to retire the side. And he is struck out. The out Outfield straight away for Alvin. AD right down on the knob of the bat. The wind and the pitch on the way to Davis now. High, the fastball taken. Ball one. One ball. No strikes. Real nice crowd this evening. And Robinson back with the 1-0 pitch to Alvin Davis. And this time the fastball swung on and lined down the right field line. Chester Lemon will have to play it on a hop. Alvin Davis will make the turn and hold. And his mini slump is over. He had gone 0 for his last 13. Only the second Mariner hit. And here's Jeffrey Leonard. The Friends Horizon Air is the first airline to wake up and smell the coffee. Why? Well, because now, on all Horizon-8 and jet flights, you can enjoy the freshly brewed flavor of Starbucks gourmet coffee, the world's finest. So get a flying start with Horizon Air and Starbucks coffee, now available to plain folks. The pitch to the Hackman, swing and a miss. 0-1, high, hard heat that time. Leonard, no contact. Alvin, not a big lead at first. He's there with nobody out. And Jeff Robinson set for the one-strike pitch to Jeffrey Leonard. And it's taken way outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Robinson really studying the signs of heat. The 1-1 pitch to Jeffrey Leonard on the way. Low and outside. A breaking ball, a slider that time. 2 balls and a strike. And now Jeff Robinson, even though we're in the 5th inning, begins to creep up toward that century mark in pitches. He threw 31 in the first, 21 in the second, 17 in the third, 17 in the fourth. The pitch, way high and outside, ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike. And nobody throwing for the Tigers in the pen. Tigers at 21 and 29. The Mariners 23-27. And the stretch. The 3-1 pitch to Jeffrey, and it swung on and foul high upstairs behind home plate. Another souvenir. The count full 3-2. And now we're going to get some action. A left-hander and a right-hander going to start to throw for Detroit. Brian DuBois, Matt Kinzer. DuBois the left-hander, Kinzer the right-hander throwing. The pitch, swing and a miss. Good hard stuff right into the hands to Jeffrey Leonard. So that's the first out of the 5th inning. And the 3rd strikeout for Jeff Robinson. And here's the kid. Griffey was intentionally walked in the first. Hit the ball hard, but on a line to Kenny Williams in left center field in the 3rd inning. The kid with those baseball pants right down on the tongue of his shoe. He likes him that way. As does Mike Jackson, the Mariner relief pitcher. Alvin Davis is lead at first base. The pitch on the way to the kid. Swing and a miss. He even looks nice when he misses, doesn't he? The way he extends. Kind of like a golfer taking a practice swing.
He has a beautiful swing. You know, of those 68 hits he has this year, you know what? I can't remember any cheapies.
Here comes the 0-1 on the way to the kid now. That bounces up to the plate. That was a fork ball. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Everybody, when he takes batting practice, just kind of stops. It's kind of like when Bo Jackson takes batting practice, but only because see how far he can hit the ball. And same thing with Jose Canseco. The 1-1 pitch on the way to Griffey, swung on and fouled at the plate. But people watch Griffey take batting practice just because of his consistency. His beautiful swing and how he hits the ball to opposite fields where the ball is pitched. Also, he's got the great power, as you know. But just it's kind of like a special thing of art to watch his swing. The symmetry of it. Here comes the stretch. The 1-2 pitch on the way to Ken Griffey down. A chain swung on and tapped to the shortstop. Trammell underhand to Phillips, and Phillips' throw on the fielder for the double play. He was way out in front of that pitch. Got fooled on it. 6, 4, 3. The fifth is over for the M. That, my
Whoa.
friend, goes back a few years.
Freudian slip.
Here's Ricky.
Thank you, Bob. Kenny Williams will lead it off for Detroit. The Tigers center fielder. He is 0 for 1. He struck out back in the third. What a game for Randy Johnson. Randy's first pitch on the way, and it's a slider, swing, and a foul. Back behind home plate, 0-1. Johnson throwing strikes all night long. He threw only 63 pitches through 5 innings of work. Kenny Williams hitting 161. No home runs and 5 runs batted in. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fastball is fouled out of play on the first base side. Second level. And makes a nice catch. Now the count is 0-2. So a slider and a fastball, and Randy Johnson is out in front of the count on Williams. No balls and 2 strikes. One advantage about being 6'10" is that when you work a ball game with the opposing pitcher, there's no way that his landing area is near yours. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Slider, swing, and a pop-up off the end of the bat. Shallow left center field. Griffey and Cotto both there, and Henry Cotto makes the catch, 1 away. Brings up leadoff batter, second baseman Tony Phillips. Fans, you can design your own custom ticket package this year. It's called the 20-game do-it-yourself plan. Here's how it works. You choose the 20 games on the new Mariners schedule most attractive to you. Select the special events and the visiting teams you most want to see and get the benefit of special ticket prices. For more information, please call 343-4600 during business hours, and a new Mariners account executive will assist you. Great idea and a great plan. The pitch on the way to Phillips, and it's high and inside, ball 1. Tony 0 for 2 tonight. He struck out in the first, leading off the game on a 1-2 slider. And he has flied out to center fielder Ken Griffey Jr. And that was a portent of things to come, that strikeout on Tony Phillips. Here's the windup by Randy Johnson, and the 1-0 pitch, and it hangs outside low. Ball 2, 2 balls and no strikes. He went right after Phillips with a 1-2 slider when he struck him out. Tony last night 3 for 4. Well, the A's last year, he was Mr. Everything, played all over the place. Hit 262, 4 home runs, and 47 runs batted in. Here's the pitch on the way, and it's low and inside. Ball 3, so Randy way behind Phillips. 3 balls, no strikes. Tony came into the ball game hitting 243. Started last night's game hitting 233, so he raised his average 10 points. Randy, both feet on the rubber, the windup, and the 3-0 pitch. Fastball, strike one called right at the knees. 3-1. 1 out, nobody on. Top of the 6th. Mariners lead by a score of 2-0 behind the pitching tonight of Randy Johnson. Randy, again the sign from Scott Bradley. Here's the 3-1 pitch on the way. Fastball low and inside, and it gets off the glove of the catcher, Scott Bradley, for ball 4, and Tony Phillips is aboard. The 3rd walk given up by Randy Johnson. 1 on and 1 away, and here's shortstop Alan Trammell. Trammell tonight is hitless in 2 tries. He has grounded out to short and has also popped up to second baseman Harold Reynolds. Trammell came into the game hitting .301, now has the average at .297, 0 for 3 last night, and he scored twice. Tough hitter right here, Alan Trammell. The stretch by Johnson, and the pitch. Fastball, swing, and a pop-up out of play on the first base side. This one way back up into the crowd, and it's 0-1. Johnson's last win, May the 17th. 14-6 victory in Toronto over the Blue Jays. On deck for the Tigers, left fielder Gary Ward. Infield has already turned 1 double play tonight. Mike Heath hit into a 6-4-3 double play back in the 2nd. Randy hasn't faced that many hitters. Here's the stretch. Check of the runner, and now a throw to first base to get Tony Phillips back. He retired the side in order in the 1st, looked at 3 batters in the 2nd, only 4 in the 3rd, 4 in the 4th, and retired the side in order in the 5th. And now has 1 on and 1 out Here in the sixth, Mariners lead 2-0. 2 runs on 2 hits. Johnson a quick step off, but no throw, and he has Phillips diving back to first base. Tigers have left 2 on in the game. Here's the stretch by Randy. Long hesitation. Now the 0-1 pitch. Strike. 2 called on the outside corner. 0-2. On deck, left fielder Gary Ward. Trammell was suffering from a stiff back earlier this week. He was out on Monday and Tuesday with the back problems. Tough little shortstop. He's been around a long time. Came up along with Lou Whitaker. Stretch, and Johnson steps off the rubber and once again looks Phillips back. Trammell and Whitaker have been partners a long time. Here's the pitch on the way to Allen, swinging a high fly ball into left field, fairly deep in front of the 1-8 track Henry Cano. He's there to make the catch. 2 away. So Trammell flies out for the second out of the inning. Phillips stays over at first base, and here's left fielder Gary Ward.
Left fielder Gary Ward.
Ward tonight is hitless in 2 tries. Everybody is hitless for the Tigers tonight with 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Ward is flied out deep to right center field and was safe on a fielding error by shortstop Mike Brumley his last time up in the 4th inning. Here's the stretch of the pitch on the way to Ward, and it's way outside. Ball 1, 1-0. Getting back to Trammell for just a second. He came up at the end of the year in 1977 along with Lou Whitaker. Phillips, good speed on at first base. He has 10 stolen bases. The stretch and the pitch to Ward. High and inside. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Second day of the month of June. Mariners finished May with a record of 15-14. How about the Minnesota Twins? They had a great May. 21-7. The pitch on the way, and it's low. Ball 3. 3-0 the count, and Gary Ward hitting .261. He has a 10-game hitting streak, so Ward has been on a good stretch right now. 11 hits in his last 37 at-bats for an average of .297 with one of his 3 home runs. He went 1 for 4 last night. A single to right field in the 3rd. Johnson, the 3-0 pitch. Fastball, strike 1 called on the inside corner. 3-1. On deck, first baseman Cecil Fielder. So for Randy Johnson, this is the guy to take care of right here to try to wrap up the inning. You want Fielder leading off the 7th. Randy, a check of Phillips. The stretch and the 3-1 pitch. Fastball is popped up behind the plate, out of play, upper deck. Off to our right, and the count is full. At 3-2, and now with 2 outs, Phillips will take off over at first base. 1 on, 2 outs. Here in the Tigers' half of the 6th inning, the Mariners lead 2-0. Here's the stretch. Phillips, little break over at first base. Alvin Davis playing behind the runner. Johnson stepped off, and he looks Tony back to the bag. Now we're ready. Phillips again a lead. The stretch by Randy. Phillips goes. The 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball, high and outside. Ball 4. He walked him. So Gary Ward is on at first base. Phillips is pushed down to second. And here's first baseman Cecil Fielder. Fielder has walked and struck out 0 for 1. He tried to reach a high heater on a 1-2 pitch in the 4th inning. Walked back in the 2nd. That's the 4th walk given up by Randy Johnson. He has struck out 3 in this game. Phillips in the 1st, Fielder in the 4th. He also struck out Kenny Williams back in the 3rd. So 2 on and 2 outs. The tying run is out at first. The go-ahead run is at the plate in the form of Fielder. The stretch by Johnson. And here's the pitch. Fastball swing and a pop-up behind the plate, and that's out of play. And the count is 0-1. Cecil Fielder tied for the league high in home runs with 19.
Last time he was up there, he challenged him with nothing but fastballs, and he's coming right back with a fastball here.
Blew by the high heater for strike 3. What a year for Fielder. Last year in Japan with the Hanshin Tigers at 302 with 38 home runs. The stretch and the 0-1 pitch. Fastball swing and a foul back out of play, and the count is 0-2. So he's going right after Fielder. Guy has plenty of power. Canseco and Fielder each with 19 home runs. That's 6 more than the 2nd place home run man in the league, Mark McGwire of the Oakland A's. And he's right on the heels of Canseco at RBIs. The stretch. And the 0-2 pitch. Slider and is down. Ball one. Check swing by Fielder. He didn't go. 1-2 the count on Cecil. He has a little 4-game hitting streak on the line. He went 2 for 4 in last night's game with that grand slam. He had a sacrifice fly and 5 runs batted in. Runners get their leads. The stretch. And Johnson's 1-2 pitch, and it's low and outside. Ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Fielder. On deck, right fielder Chet Lemon. With 1 out, Phillips walked. With 2 outs, Gary Ward walked. Johnson, with that big frame, looks in and gets the sign. The stretch. And the 2-2 pitch. Fastball, and it's high and outside. In and out of the glove of the catcher, Scott Bradley. Ball 3. And now the runners will take off with a 3-2 pitch coming up to Cecil Fielder. He challenged Fielder with the fastball, and he threw it on by in the 4th. He has confidence in that slider as well, and let's see what he wants to do with Mr. Fielder here in the 6th. With Phillips at 2nd and Ward at 1st. Mariners lead 2-0. The stretch. The runners go. The 3-2 pitch, and it's inside. Ball 4. Misses inside, and now the Tigers have the bases loaded. 3 walks given up by Randy Johnson here in the top of the 6th inning. 2 down, and the batter is right fielder Chet Lemon. 5 walks given up by Randy in the game. Walks to Phillips, Ward, and Fielder, and here's Lemon, who is 0 for 2, and Randy Johnson trying to work himself out of a big jam. The tying run is on at 2nd. The go-ahead run is on at 1st. The infield back with 2 down. The stretch. And the pitch to Lemon. Slider, strike at the knees on the inside corner. 0-1. Good location with a breaking ball to get the first pitch in and over for a strike to Lemon. Lemon has popped up to Reynolds at 2nd base. And he has grounded out to Edgar Martinez over at 3rd. Randy ready. Here's the 0-1 pitch. And it's high and outside with a fastball. Ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike on Lemon, hitting .278. He has 4 home runs and 14 runs batted in. Runners will lead at every base. The stretch, and Johnson's 1-1 pitch. Fastball is up and in. Ball 2. So he falls behind at 2-1. After getting the first pitch in and over for a strike, a slider at the knees, and now time is called as Harold Reynolds trots in from 2nd base to have a talk with Randy Johnson. 5+ innings of work for Randy Johnson, 5 2/3 to be exact. And this is the first time in the ball game that the Tigers have had a runner either at 2nd or 3rd in the game. They have the bases loaded with 2 outs. Big pitch right here. The stretch. And the 2-1 to Chet Lemon. Slider, strike 2 called on the inside corner. A beauty, same location, and the same pitch as the first offer on Chet Lemon. Home plate umpire Al Clark went over to Lemon and tapped him on the back. After Lemon looked back and questioned the call, said, "Hey, Al, was that in there for a strike?" And it was, and the count evens on Lemon at 2-2. Randy Johnson with 3 strikeouts in the game. Looks in, and he gets the sign from Scott Bradley. Runners who lead. The pitch on the way. Swing and a foul back behind home plate, and the count is still even on Lemon at 2-2. Randy driving the pitch in on the hands of Chet Lemon, and he just got a piece of it, and he fouled it away straight back behind home plate. Johnson ready one more time. Runners a lead. Here's the 2-2 on the way again. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Struck him out with a slider, and that retires the side. Randy Johnson, strikeout number 4 in the ball game, and the Tigers leave the bases loaded here in the top of the 6th inning. Kevin Kremen, we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Mariners lead the Tigers by a score of 2-0, and leading it off for the Mariners, 3rd baseman Edgar Martinez. And we've got a very happy gentleman up here in the press box tonight. Here's Jeff Robinson's first pitch, and it's up high to Edgar for ball 1. We have the winner of the Chevy Geo Storm that was given away tonight from Harrington Chevrolet. Walter Cavalier from Tacoma is the winner of the beautiful car. Here's the windup and the pitch on the way. Fastball is outside to Edgar Martinez. Ball 2, 2 balls and no strikes. Walter Cavalier had a chance to stop on by the booth. And Walter, congratulations. That's a beautiful car you won.
Thank you very much. I hope I can enjoy it.
Oh, I know you will. Here's the windup and the 2-0 pitch, and it's low to Martinez. Ball 3, 3-0 the count. I'm glad you came out to the ballpark tonight. I know you are. What made you decide to come on by and see the Mariners play on this particular night?
I don't know. I just picked tonight and decided to come on out.
It was your lucky night. Here's the pitch on the way to Martinez, and it's a called strike, and the count is now 3-1. What was your reaction when they picked your ticket stub?
Oh, I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what to do. Everybody around me yelling, "It's you, it's you, it's you."
Here's the pitch on the way to Martinez for a strike, and the count is full now on Edgar at 3-2. So congratulations to Walter Cavalier from Tacoma, winner of the on Classic Car Night of the Chevy Geostorm. Swing and a foul straight back by Martinez, and the count is still full at 3-2. How many games do you come out to during the course of the season, Walter?
Oh, I usually come out at least 2 games every homestand.
Every homestand? All right, so you come out quite often then.
Yeah, I'm here quite a bit.
Your chances of winning were pretty good then tonight. Walter Cavalier of Tacoma. Full count, and Edgar Martinez leading off the bottom half of the 6th inning. Jeff Robinson has thrown a lot of pitches. Next offer on the way, swinging a line drive down the left field line. Foul ball. Just foul down the left field side, and the count is still full on Martinez at 3-2. Martinez, Buhner, and Bradley for the Mariners here in the bottom of the 6th. Well, if you come out that often, you have seen a number of changes this year here at the ballpark. It's been a lot of fun this year, hasn't it, Walter?
It certainly has. I just hope they continue to improve.
Oh, I think they will, especially with the kid out there in center field and the talent on this ball club.
Don't forget the guy in right field.
How about Mr. Buhner coming back last night? Here's the pitch on the way. Swing and a fly ball into center field, shallow. Kenny Williams right there waits, and he makes the catch. 1 out. And here's the man you're talking about, right fielder Jay Buhner. Were you here last night?
No, I didn't come out last night. But I was listening.
All right. Jay Buhner, big night last night. Tonight he is 0 for 2. He has lined out, hit a BB right to left fielder Gary Ward for the final out in the 1st, and he has also hit into a fielder's choice, and that retired the side in the bottom of the 3rd. So Jay tonight 0 for 2. He has a home run and 5 runs batted in. The grand slam last night and 5 RBIs. Robinson ready. The pitch. Swing and a line drive, base hit into left center field. So Buhner is aboard. Over to cut it off into the alley. Kenny Williams, the throw back in, keeps Buhner to a single. So Jay Buhner is back. A shot sizzles it into left center field. 1 on and 1 away. And here's catcher Scott Bradley. Now, Walter, will you be driving the Chevy Geostorm? Is this going to be for your wife or what?
I don't know. I haven't decided. You know, it's come as such a surprise that no, I had made no plans to win a car.
Great-looking car, the Geostorm from Harrington Chevrolet here on Classic Car Night. Here's the pitch to Bradley. Fastball got a piece of the outside corner, 0-1. Did you get a chance to see a number of the classic cars before the ball game tonight out in the north parking lot?
Yeah, I saw them.
That brings back some great memories, doesn't it?
It really does. Especially that 55 Chevy. I like that.
I do too. Here's the stretch and a throw to first base to get Jay Buhner back. 1 on and 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th. Walter Cavalier. And it's only fitting that Walter Cavalier should win a Chevy. Here's the pitch on the way. Swinging a fly ball deep to right center field. On the run, Lemon and Williams. It is going to be Williams to make the catch in front of the 1-2 check. Buhner will have to hustle the throw back to first base, and he's out. The tag by Cecil Fielder in front of the bag. Buhner was down at second. He cannot get back in time. The throw by Williams into Cecil Fielder for the double play, and that nothing. And here's catcher Mike Heath. Heath, Jones, and Romero to bat for Detroit. Heath is 0 for 2. He has grounded into a double play and bounced out to Martinez at third. Randy Johnson's pitch, swing and a foul straight back, and the count is 0-1. Heath hitting .360 for the year with a home run and 11 runs batted in. And the 0-1 pitch by Randy. Fastball just a little bit low and inside. 1-1. Mariners tried to even up the series against Detroit last night. The Tigers won a strange ball game, 9-7. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a bouncer pulled foul on the third base side. Handled nicely by third base coach Alex Grammas. Strike 2. A ball and 2 strikes. Randy Johnson, big trouble in the 6th inning. Walked the bases loaded. But with 2 outs, came back and he struck out Chet Lemon to retire the side. It was his 4th strikeout of the game. Here's the wide and the 1-2 pitch. Fastball swing and a miss. Strike 3. Randy Johnson with strikeout number 5, and he went after him with the fastball. And may have been a little bit out of the strike zone. Above the letters, he chased it. 1 out, and here's designated hitter Tracy Jones. Jones 0 for 2. He has popped up twice. Jones hitting .247, 3 home runs, 8 runs batted in. The pitch, fastball up and in, backs him off the plate. Ball 1. Randy has really helped himself out in that he has kept the leadoff runner off the base pass, or the leadoff batter, I should say. Pitch on the way, swinging a pop-up out of play on the first base side, and it's 1-1. He struck out Phillips in the first. Cecil Fielder walked in the second, but then was erased on a double play ball. Tracy Jones popped up to third, leading off the third. Trammell popped up in the fourth, or rather in the fourth, to the second baseman, Harold Reynolds. Heath was retired, the leadoff batter in the fifth. Likewise, Kenny Williams in the sixth. The pitch, swing and a pop-up out of play on the right field side, and it's 1-2 on Jones, and now Johnson gets Heath as a strikeout victim, leading off the seventh. Randy Johnson going after win number 4. His 11th start of the year. The big left-hander, the sign from Bradley, and the 1-2 pitch. Slider, swing, and a chopper out to Martinez at third. Edgar charges on the run, fires across, and it is in time to get Jones at first base. Alvin Davis had to reach a little up and over to his left. First base coach Dick Trzaskowski is saying that Alvin might have come off the bag trying to get to the ball, and now here comes Sparky out of the dugout to argue with first base umpire Darrell Cousins. But Jones is called out over at first base. The throw was just a little bit offline, and Alvin Davis had to reach up to go get it. On a nice play, there are 2 down for the Tigers in the 7th inning, and here's third baseman Ed Romero. Romero is 0 for 1. He has walked and also fly to right, so Sparky turns around and makes his way back inside the Tigers' first base dugout. Romero now hitting at an even 200 for the year. First pitch, fastball, Steve Wright called on the inside corner, 0-1. On deck, center fielder Kenny Williams. Johnson not wasting any time. The 0-1 pitch, fastball, swing, and a foul out of play on the first base side, 0-2. And we have seen that quite a bit tonight. With Johnson going, Sparky Anderson has loaded his lineup with a lot of right-handed hitters, and with a guy who can throw 95 to 98 miles an hour, it's tough to catch up on that fastball. And a lot of fans on the first base and right field side are getting souvenirs. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Fastball, check, swing, and he fouls it away. The pitch rode up and in on Romero, left the bat a little bit out over the plate, and he just got a piece of it, and it's still 0-2. We're glad that you could join us for all the play-by-play tonight from the Kingdome for the middle game of this 3-game series. Johnson, the windup, and again the 0-2 pitch. Slider is low, ball 1. 1-2. Sparky Anderson. Been around a long, long time in the major leagues as a manager. 1,779 wins, 10th all-time on the managerial list. 916 of those victories with the Tigers. Johnson back with the 1-2 pitch, way up high, ball 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sparky took over this ball club back in 1979. He said, give me 5 years and I'll win it. When he took over the club, and in 5 years, in 1984, the Tigers had the great year. Won the pennant and the World Series, 4-1 over the San Diego Padres, managed by Dick Williams. Here's the windup. And the 2-2 pitch. Fastball swing and a foul in and out of the glove of the catcher, Scott Bradley. It is still 2-2 on Ed Romero. Randy Johnson just reached back and just fired away the 2-2 pitch. And Romero just got a piece of it. 1984. What a start for the Tigers. They win 35-5. That'll win it for you. Here's the pitch. Swing and a pop-up. In behind first base, foul ground, right field side. Alvin Davis taps his glove. That means he's going to make the catch, and he does, and that's out number 3. So it's 1-2-3. The Tigers story in the 7th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left, and after 6.5, the fans here in the Kingdom will take their 7th inning stretch. Our score. It's the Mariners 2 and the Tigers nothing. Innings of work for Randy Johnson. He is working on a no-hitter. Mariners lead 2-0. 2 runs on 3 hits and 1 error for the M's. No runs, no hits, and 2 errors for Detroit. Here's Jeff Robinson's first pitch. Bunted ball up on the first base side. Picked up by Robinson. Robinson to the line. He puts the tag in front of the bag at first on Mike Brumley. 1 pitch and 1 away. So Brumley trying to bunt his way aboard, but Jeff Robinson, the big right-hander, is able to get off the mound quickly and get to it between the mound and the first base bag. He raced over to the line in front of the bag and puts the tag on Brumley. 1 out. Here's second baseman Harold Reynolds, who has walked twice. As a sacrifice fly, he has scored a run and has docked in a run batted in for Reynolds, his 21st of the year. Here's the pitch by Robinson. Fastball is up high, ball 1. And once again, activity down in the Detroit bullpen. Left-hander and the right-hander warming up for Detroit. On deck for the Mariners, left fielder Henry Cotto. In close at third is Romero. Now the pitch. Strike on the outside corner. 1-1. Reynolds 1 for 5 last night with a run batted in. Right-hander is Matt Kinzer, and the left-hander this time is Paul Gibson. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swinging a fly ball lifted into shallow left field. Over near the line goes Gary Ward, and he makes the catch. 2 outs. Brings up Henry Cotto, who is 0 for 2. Cotto, 2 for 5 last night, 0 for 2 tonight. He has flied to Ward and left. He has walked and grounded out to third baseman Ed Romero. Jeff Robinson, over 100 pitches. He threw 108 through 6, and he has tossed 3-4 more here in the 7th inning to quickly get 2 outs. Henry now hitting .310. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike, little slider, and it's 0-1. Mariners getting by the 1.5 million mark in attendance in last night's game. Robinson, the 0-1 pitch. Fastball swing and a 2-hopper out to Romero at third. He's got it. The toss across in time to get Henry Cotto for out number 3, so it's a quick inning for the M's.
110 pitches. Randy Johnson consistently throwing 96, 97 miles an hour. We've checked. And the pitch, swing and a miss. Had a breaking ball that time, the slider. So the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. And everybody into this. They know what they're sitting in on right now. We are in the 8th. And it starts getting serious time. 1 ball and 1 strike on Kenny Williams. Here comes the wind by Randy. The 1-1 pitch on the way, and the fastball swung on and fouled back, and he is still throwing very hard. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's great to have you all here at the Dome tonight. Do drop by tomorrow afternoon for the wrap-up game. Eric Hansen and Frank Tanana. And then the M's will go on the road for a week. Here comes the 1-2 pitch on the way to Williams. Fastball, foul, straight back. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Well, a great way to reward yourself after the game, win or lose, is with the clean, crisp taste of a Beechwood aged Budweiser. You got it? This Bud's for you. Randy with the cap off for just a second and kind of tucks it back on. Now has the sign. Comes in with the 1-2 pitch to Williams, and the breaking ball swung on and hit to left field fairly deep. Going back Cotto. He's got the room. He's back about a step from the track to make the catch. So 1 out and 5 outs to go. Tony Phillips, the hitter. Phillips tonight has walked. He has popped to right center, and he is struck out. 0 for 2. There really has not been anything close to a base hit. The hardest hit ball in the game, Gary Ward's ball, way back in the first inning. And he hit a drive into right center field, but Griffey easily caught up with it. And the only disputed play in the game last inning, when Tracy Jones hit the ground ball to Edgar Martinez in the throw to first. Here comes the wind, the pitch on the way to Tony Phillips, and a fastball foul back. And Sparky Anderson and Dick Trzaskowski, just a mild argument with first base umpire Darrell Cousins about perhaps Alvin Davis coming off the bag, but no, said Darrell Cousins, and he's the only man who counts in that decision. Otherwise, there has not been anything close to a base hit. 0-1 the count on Tony Phillips. The 0-1 pitch on the way by the big guy. The fastball rides high over the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tony Phillips, a man who's a wealthy young man right now, and he did it by playing a lot of positions. Here comes the wind, and the 1-1 pitch on the way to Tony Phillips, and the breaking ball just outside. Ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Alan Trammell is due next. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Mariners. No runs, no hits, 2 errors for the Detroit Tigers. And Randy Johnson has the sign and comes in with the 2-1 pitch on the way. And it's a strike. A big slider right on the outside corner at the knees. 2-2. And the big guy leans down and pats that rosin bag. Now comes a couple of steps down on front and tries to plug a little hole with that right foot. And he stands right back up on top. A mountain of a man at 6'10", 225 pounds. Into the wind, the 2-2 pitch. Fastball pulls foul over toward the dugout of the Mariners along the third base side. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A new supply of baseballs brought out by the Mariner ball boy for home plate umpire Al Clark. And in this situation, the home plate umpire begins to feel some of the pressure. 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's pressure on the official score when it gets down to this time. Here comes the wind and the 2-2 pitch on the way. That's just high. Fairly high. 3-2 the count on Tony Phillips. The outfield straight away. Randy has struck out 5. Here comes the wind and the 3-2 pitch, and Phillips calls time in the middle of the windup, and it is granted by Al Clark. Trying to upset the rhythm of Randy Johnson. And Johnson was already rocking back on that back leg, but it was granted by Al Clark. Johnson again trying to settle down. Here comes the wind and the 3-2 pitch, and it's low and inside. Ball 4. So that is walk number 6. Tony Phillips trots to first base. And Alan Trammell will be the hitter. Trammell has grounded to short, popped to short, and hit a fly ball to Henry Cotto. The Tigers have left 5 men in this game. The Mariners looking for the twin killing here. The Mariners scored a run in the first without the benefit of a hit and scored a run in the fourth with only 1 hit. And the wild pitch by Robinson very much figuring in that run in the fourth. With Brumley the 1-out double, he was wild pitched to third and then scored on the sacrifice fly by Harold Reynolds. In the first, Harold Reynolds walked. He went to second base when Alvin Davis walked with 1 down, was wild pitched to third, and then scored on a Jeffrey Leonard ground ball to third. It's been that tight. Here's Trammell now. The stretch by Randy, and the pitch on the way to Allen, and it's a check swing trickler down the first base line, charged by Harold Reynolds. He's only going to get 1 as he underhands to the first baseman Alvin Davis right out of the glove. Not time for the transfer. So 2 outs. On the play, Phillips ends up at second base. And Gary Ward will be the hitter. As we mentioned, Ward probably came the closest to a, well, not a hit, but the hardest hit ball of the night belongs to Ward. That back in the first, the drive into right center. He was aboard on a routine ground ball hit to Brumley, and he bobbled it for an error. And he walked in the 6th inning. So Phillips is at second base in the 8th with 2 outs. Here comes the stretch. And the pitch on the way to Gary Ward. The breaking ball. Strike! A slider at the knees. 0-1. Randy Johnson. Again, the long look down to Scott Bradley. The big guy set. Here's the 0-1 on the way to Gary Ward now. Fastball just inside. And he's still throwing very hard. And he's thrown over 120 pitches. That fastball just missed the inside corner. And perhaps a little bit high, more than inside. 1 ball and 1 strike on Gary. Now Randy set. Here comes the 1-1 pitch on the way. Fastball foul backing out of play off to our right. Off the first base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ward, broad-shouldered, wearing number 32 on his back. One of the most famous numbers in all of sports. That closed stance. Right down in the knob of that dark stained bat. Tony Phillips is lead at second. The stretch. The 1-2 pitch. Swing! The miss. He struck him out. So that is 6 strikeouts for Randy Johnson. And Randy Johnson doing a 2-step, 3-step as he stops midway between the mound and the bench. He taps his right foot, his left foot, and then against his left foot. Whether or not that is good luck, we don't know.
Washington's best ones.
Well, here we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning of play, and left-hander Paul Gibson, who worked in last night's ball game, will take over with a record of 1-1 and a 2.36 earned run average. But that is not the story. Everybody here, 20,014, waiting for the top half of the 9th because Big Unit, as they call him, Randy Johnson, has a no-no going here at the Kingdome tonight. Paul Gibson worked 2/3 of an inning last night, walked 1 man, Alvin Davis, who snapped out of an 0-for-13 mini slump with a base hit in the 5th inning, will lead it off. Gibson out on the hill, the left-hander into the wind, and then here comes the pitch on the way to Alvin, and it's swung on and pulled foul right in front of Rusty Kuntz, coaching at first base. For the Mariners, they have played 2,100 games coming into this game. Never has a pitcher pitched a no-hitter. Never has a pitcher come closer, of course, than Brian Holman earlier this year. But for the M's, this is game number 2,101. Will it be lucky? Here comes the wind. The pitch on the way to Davis. Swung on and a high fly ball hit deep into left center field. Going back is Ward, and right there to take it away from him, Kenny Williams, the center fielder, right up against the California Angel logo to pin it out in deep left center field. So 1 long out. Let's pause for station identification. This is the Mariners Radio Network.
This is KSTW TV 11, Tacoma, Seattle, home of Mariners baseball.
Jeffrey Leonard drove in the first run back in the 1st inning on a ground ball. He sends another ground ball right back up through the middle on the first pitch from Paul Gibson for a base hit. And for the Mariners, that is only their 4th hit. So Jeffrey Leonard is 1 for 4, and here's the kid. Griffey was intentionally walked in the 1st, lined out to Williams in left center field, and then bounced into a double play in the 5th. The kid taps the plate once. The Hackman walking away from first. Now the southpaw Gibson is set. Here comes the pitch on the way to Griffey. Strike on the outside corner. Good fastball. 1-1.
I think Randy Johnson is getting the silent treatment inside the Mariner dugout.
You can bet on.
Yep.
1-1 the count on the kid. Now the stretch. And the 0-1 pitch on the way now. The breaking ball, swing and a miss. A curve that time. Kenny way out in front of it. Randy Johnson not only working on the no-hitter, working on his first shutout of his major league career. Here comes the stretch, and the 0-2 pitch on the way to sidearm breaking ball. Tapped foul at the plate. Griffey patient just enough to get a piece of it. 0-2. Gibson, number 48 on his back. 1 on, 1 out. The kid taps the plate. With that war club, now Gibson goes to his stretch. Here comes the 0-2 on the way instead of throw to first base, and Leonard back to the bag. Jeffrey picks and chooses his time to steal, and he is very, very proficient in it. He is 4 steals. No times caught stealing. The stretch. He stays. The pitch. Griffey sends a ground ball toward the hole, backhanded by Fielder. He goes down to Trammell, who goes back to Gibson, off the bag. Paul Gibson was off the bag. So Griffey is safe on the fielder's choice. Leonard is out, 3-6. And that'll bring up Edgar Martinez. Good try by the pitcher. Gibson to get over there, but he was toe-tapping, trying to find the bag and never did find it. As Trammell's throw went back to first, Gibson trying to make the side swipe with that left foot across the top of the bag and didn't make it. So here's Edgar Martinez in the 9th. The Tigers will have Fielder and Chester Lemon and Mike Heath due up against Randy Johnson. The left-hander set, and Gibson, keeping Griffey honest, drives him back to the bag. Now the southpaw is set, and another throw to first base, and the kid again back to the bag. Mariners with a stolen base tonight. Harold Reynolds picking up a steal in the 2nd inning. Time called as Gibson has to apparently tie his left shoelace, or at least get the tongue of his shoe out of the way of the shoelace and make it more comfortable. Now he's back up on top and leaning down on that right knee. Has the stretch, looks over at first and goes over there one more time, and Griffey is back to the bag. Of course, the Tigers are not only thinking about breaking up the no-hitter, the heck with that. It's a very close ball game. They're thinking about winning it in the 9th. They can. Down by only 2. And Gibson wanting to keep it that way. The stretch. And the pitch on the way. Martinez taking right down the pipe for a strike call. 0-1 on Edgar. Gibson. Kind of a long look in. Now he's set. And the 0-1 pitch on the way. Fastball high and outside this time. A ball and a strike on Edgar Martinez. Gibson, as we mentioned last night, not a real hard thrower. Last year, 4-8 with the Tigers, with a 4.64 in run average. Paul, another throw to first base, and again, Griffey leaning back to the bag. Native of the state of New York, born in Center Moriches, New York. Originally signed by Cincinnati to stretch. The 1-1 pitch on the way, high and outside this time. The pitch to Edgar Martinez, 2 balls and 1 strike. Signed by Cincinnati as the 3rd round in the January '78 draft. He's 30 years of age. Went to Suffolk County, New York Community College at JC. Now the next pitch on the way to Martinez. There's the strike taken in the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Edgar Martinez. 2 outs and 1 man on. 2-0 Mariners. Now the southpaw set, and the 2-2 pitch on the way, and this time it's a breaking ball hit foul down the right field line off the hands. And about 4 or 5 rows deep. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Brian Holman early this year, retiring 26 athletics in a row before the Ken Phelps home run. And another part of the Montreal connection will take a no-hitter into the 9th tonight. Randy Johnson. Here comes the stretch. The 2-2 pitch instead is another throw to first base, and Griffey is back. Gibson working on some bubble gum out there on the mound. Griffey inching off again, and Gibson stare right over there at him. The 2-2 pitch on the way. Martinez takes low, and now he doesn't have to worry about him because he's going. with the count 3 balls and 2 strikes and 2 out. And first baseman Cecil Fielder pointing out to Gibson that he's going to play behind Griffey now. But not that far. He's going to keep him as close as possible and sneak up a little bit. Jay Buhner would be next. Here comes the southpaw stretch. And the 3-2 pitch. There goes Griffey, and it's swung on, and a high fly ball hit to deep center field. Back goes Williams. He's got the room. Kenny is there, and we shall go to the 9th. In the 8th, no running, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left. He of the 19 home runs. He of the 47 RBI. Tied with Jose Canseco for the league lead in long balls. Broad-shouldered, 26 years of age, out of Los Angeles, California. And kind of just smoothing over that dirt in the front of that right-handed batter's box. The outfield straight away. And Randy Johnson, who has thrown 125 pitches, ready to throw number 126 to Cecil Fielder. Here's the wind of the pitch on the way. Swinging the foul back. 0-1. Randy's still throwing very hard, throwing consistently 96, 97 miles an hour. Coming right after Fielder with the heat. Fielder wants the baseball inspected by the home plate umpire, Al Clark, and Clark does so and just throws another baseball into the glove of Scott Bradley, and I think Randy's got a new one. Kind of a tug at the bill of the hat for the big guy. Randy Johnson concentrating, ready to go into the wind. Here comes the 0-1 pitch on the way to Fielder, and the slider struck to call. Oh, what a pitch that was, right on the outside corner at the knees. Fielder could not pull the trigger. Let's see if he tries to get him with some heat here. 0-2 the count on Cecil. These fans ready to explode. Here comes the 0-2 pitch on the way to Fielder. Fastball, swing and a miss. 2 outs to go. That's 7 strikeouts. A high fastball, probably out of the strike zone. But for Randy Johnson, his 7th strikeout. And here comes Chester Lemon.
He needs 2 more outs. Since 1902, the Tigers have been no-hit 11 times. The last time, 1973, by Nolan Ryan, then with California.
I remember it well. It was a Sunday afternoon at Tiger Stadium. That was the time that Norm Cash came out with a table leg in the 9th inning. Ron Luciano was calling balls and strikes. Here's the pitch on the way to Lemon. High, the fastball, ball 1 ball and no strikes. Nolan Ryan was so overpowering that day. Was the greatest pitching performance I've ever seen. Randy Johnson has struck out 7. I believe Ryan that day struck out 18. Here comes the wind and the 1-0 pitch on the way, and the breaking ball. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes on Chester Lemon. Mike Heath, the catcher, would be next. Will be next. Lemon right up on top of the plate. Randy Johnson winds, and the 2-0 pitch on the way to Chester. Strike on the outside corner, a slider. 2-1. Chester Lemon with a pair of running gloves hanging out of his right hip pocket. He has his batting gloves on right now. He has the count 2-1. Randy Johnson, the kid from the Bay Area, is set. Comes in with a 2-1 pitch to Chester. Fastball low inside. Ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. Mike Heath, the catcher, next. And again, Randy Johnson down in front to plug up a little hole with his hand where he lands. Working from about the center of the rubber. Ready to come in with a 3-1 pitch. Here comes to Chester Lemon, and the breaking ball. Strike to call. Good slider. 3-2 right at the knee. And Randy with his hat off. And his heart has to be a pounding. He knows what's at stake. The fans certainly know what is at stake. And he's looking for the 3-2 pitch now. Here it comes on the way to Chester Lemon. A fastball swung on, popped up. Foul territory. Alvin Davis is there. 1 precious out to go.
20,000 fans going crazy. Randy Johnson 1 out away from throwing a no-hitter tonight here with the Kingdome against the Detroit Tigers.
Mike Heath tonight does not have anything close to a base hit, but then No other Tiger has either. And the fans, it is bedlam, pandemonium here at the Kingdome as they are 1 out away from seeing history in the 2,101st game of the Mariner existence. Here comes the wind by Randy Johnson. The pitch on the way. Strike on the outside corner of slider. 0-1. He can smell it. He can taste it. And the next pitch on the way to Heath now. Fastball. Strike in the miss. 0-2 the count. That was way out of the strike zone. Randy Johnson is 1 strike away from moving to the top of the list on the Mariner record, in the Mariner record book. Here comes the wind, the 0-2 pitch, and it swung on and foul back. Back against the padding behind home plate, and everybody here rooting for this big guy from the University of Southern California. Randy Johnson showing number 51 to us as he goes back up the front slope of the mound. And once an exchange of baseballs. And Scott Bradley hands that one to Al Clark. And Clark will hand another one to Scotty to hand to Randy Johnson. A man all alone with himself, but not all alone here. As 24,000 incredibly rabid Mariner fans are looking for that final strike. That will set Mariner history. Here comes the left-hander's wind. The 0-2 pitch on the way. Strike! It's over! He has done it! High fastball. Randy Johnson being mobbed by Scott Bradley down to greet him and the entire Mariner team. Here on the 2nd of June, it ends at 9:51 Pacific Daylight Time. Randy Johnson with the first Mariner no-hitter in history, and they are going crazy. Everybody saluting the tallest man to ever put on a uniform in the history of baseball. Randy Johnson has done it. He has no-hit the Detroit Tigers tonight 2-0. My, oh, my.
Randy Johnson pumping his hands high in the air. He raced in off the mound to grab and bear hug his catcher, Scott Bradley, who called an amazing game. An amazing performance by Randy Johnson. The first no-hitter in the history of the Seattle Mariners franchise, and the crowd of 20,000 plus, well, they are going crazy tonight here in the Dome. Whoa, what a game tonight.
Unbelievable, and your goose pimples are as big as watermelons right now. Believe me, they are. Way to go, it says up there on the Diamond Vision scoreboard. Way to go, Randy. What a night in Mariner history. And it comes in one game over 2,100. 2,101. Final score, the Mariners 2, the Tigers nothing. Back with the totals right after this timeout.
A historic night here in Seattle. Mark this date on your calendar because it will go down in the record books and you will recall it in baseball lore in Mariner history. Saturday, June the 2nd, Randy Johnson throws a no-hitter, a 2-0 complete game shutout win over the Detroit Tigers.